In this video, I'm going to be breaking down why your chatting in your agency is probably killing your revenue and how you're most likely leaving $10,000 to even $20,000 on the table every single month. Through running different chatting systems, not only in my own agency, but also implementing my chatting infrastructure inside of my students, I have realized that chatting is the yin and yang for marketing. You can have the best marketing in the world, but if your chatting sucks, you have a shit agency. And most agencies, their chatting sucks. And that's exactly why I'm making this video today, to end the era of shitty chatting for agencies. Because in hindsight, once you learn it once, you can find a system that repeats it. It's not that hard to replicate. So today I'm going to be showing you that exact system, the GFE experience, chat manager infrastructure, how to hire, when to hire, Discord setup, and when to scale yourself outside of the chatting infrastructure. Let's get right into it. And if you want direct access to me, where I break down strategies live just like this, click the link in the description to join my completely free course plus community, where I host weekly calls every single Friday and provide templates, answer questions, and host calls live. All right, before we get into the system, let me explain why chatting matters so much. Here's the truth. If you have a great chatting but shit marketing, you have a shit agency. Why? Because you're not bringing traffic to your OF page. Your chatters are sitting there with no one to talk to. And on the other hand, if you have great marketing but shit chatting, you have, again, a shit agency. Why? Because you're leaving thousands of dollars on the table and you're most likely not captivating on all the traffic coming into your account. You're getting thousands of subs but only making 5, 10K per month because you have a 1-to-3 ratio. Both are not good. Marketing brings people in, chatting converts them. If either of them are broken, your agency is capped. And a lot of agencies are. What I see all the time is between my students, people that ask me in free calls, is these guys are posting 3 reels a day. They're bringing in subscribers and they're not making that much. They're asking, why am I pulling thousands and thousands of views, but my OnlyFans revenue is not like yours, Griffin? I'm not at 10, 20, 30K per month. But then when I check their statistics, they don't even know what a chatting ratio is. And when I calculate it, it's a 1-to-4, 1-to-5. It's not good. They're making 8K per month when they should really be making $20,000 to $30,000 every single month. And why? The main reasons that I see is A, they're usually just spamming PPVs. There's no connection. There's no strategy. There's no upsells. There's no whales. It's just, here's a $50 video. Here's something of me doing sexy. That's not chatting. And that's what I'm going to fix for you today. I'm going to show you exactly how I achieve 1-to-10, 1-to-15, even record high 1-to-19 ratios. And no, not just for one creator, consistently across all of my creators. But first, make sure your marketing is good. If your marketing is shit, there's no point in watching this video. Go fix your marketing first. There's tons of videos on my channel for marketing. Go tap yourself in. Then once you're done, come back here and watch this video. Now, let's get into it. All right, as you can see, this is the Chatting Framework 2026. This is my updated framework. Now, this is very important that you understand what I'm about to show you. I am not teaching you how to chat. Now, there is couples of parts of here where I'm showing you live chatting examples that I pulled directly from some of the creators that I manage, but in this breakdown, this is not a how to chat. What this is going to show you to do is the ideology behind the chatting, the psychology behind the chatting, how to set up your team, how to run the GFE experience, because believe me, it's not just about handling objections in the chats. It's a cross-platform and all over your OF strategy, okay? If you want to learn how to chat, my biggest recommendation is to do it yourself. Everyone who hires a chatter within their first 2 weeks or doesn't even chat themselves is losing out on tons of experience that they need to be having. I chatted when I started. My founder chats when he chatted when he started. I teach my students to chat when they started. Unless you are already at a point where making a full chatting team or hiring an agency is the only option. But for majority, you're usually going to be starting out making $500 to $1,000 if you're starting with a new creator. So that's why I recommend to everyone chat first, because that's the only way that you're really going to learn how to chat. You can watch indefinitely amount of videos, but if you do not actually do it yourself, you will just be in a perpetual loop of not actually executing and getting higher conversion rates for your chats. And especially, you need to be able to train your chatters. But once you have chatted, or even if you are chatting and you're watching this video right now and you're chatting yourself on the account, this video will help you exponentially actually gain more subscribers and profit off of your chats a lot more. So Phase one, the GFE experience, the only thing that I try to run in OFM. Now, I have ran other strategies, but GFE is 100% the most profitable, the most premium, and the most long term when it comes to strategies on chats. And when I say strategies, a lot of guys think, Griffin, what are you talking about? It's how is there a strategy behind chatting? You just sell and you buy. That's it. No, because you have to remember, this is not the only place that people are going to buy explicit content. Explicit content is free online. There's a million websites that people go to online for completely free to get even more explicit content than your models. They're subscribing to an OnlyFans page for a reason, for a purpose. Now, that purpose is what's called the parasocial relationship. So, this is basically taking advantage of that aspect of that psychological connection that they're craving. So let's get into it. Number one, what does your wall content look like, your OF wall? So PPV or PFP, excuse me, banner, discount, bio, all needs to be optimized for the GFE experience. This banner right here, what I tell guys to do is just have a picture of their girl laying down in their bed, profile picture, more up close facial shot, and then obviously the name and the @ should kind of coincide with what niche your model's in. You know, if you have a gothic model, you know, Sarah Goth XX or something, but if it's just your normal blonde girl, just first, last name, Sky, whatever, right? You can see very, very simple bio. You're only one step away from seeing more of me. Don't be shy, come say hi. This is your chance to get to know my wild side. Very, very simple. And also, boys, don't copy this bio. If you're watching this video right now, don't copy the bio. If it just ruins the industry. But you can see on the OF wall, this is the sort of stuff that we want to be posting. Now, keyword, Snapchatting. I always like to say to our models, make it seem like you're Snapchatting them. So you can see super chill, post-workout, can you help me with the next round? Our most explicit thing you could say would be lingerie or like these sort of pictures, but very, very simple. It's like you're just Snapchatting them. You want to make this wall feel unprofessional. You want to make it feel of that connection, because remember, we're basing it off of that connection on Instagram, on X. You know, your model is a superstar, this influencer that these people want to see. But then once they get past that and they pay, give them what they want. And what they want is a personal connection with you. So make it feel like this is the behind the scenes. This is your real life. This is who you are, even though you're running a strategy. Now, from there is scripts. Scripts in GFE are very, very important. If you don't run scripts, there's no real strategy here, because scripts are what's going to make all the fans think that the action, the explicit content that is being sold to them is happening live and by the model. Okay, so with scripts, you can see we have tons of scripts all the way with 7, 8, 9 on one of my models. If you guys don't know how to upload scripts into Inflow, very, very simple. You have to use an alt account, send a free subscriber link, subscribe to that account, then using Inflow, go to Vault Pro inside of Inflow, search up that account, and then click it, and then you'll be able to upload all the content from your desktop and not have to send it in messages, and Inflow will automatically bulk upload all of that content. But I like to organize it with a empty category at the top and then all the way at the bottom, just so our vault is very, very organized. Now, a little bit of sauce for you guys. If you are going to be running the GFE experience, one thing that you guys can do is add what's called verification. So have images of your model holding up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like on her fingers, if anyone ever questions the fact that if there's a chatter on the account. Because granted, it's 2026, people are getting smarter, guys are tapping into the whole idea of OFM more and more. The subscribers, the fans is what I'm saying. And if you need verification, you really want to make sure that you have that. So with that being said, what I do is have a bunch of verification pictures and then lead that into one script. For instance, this is our verification script. Now, what you want to do is I make a slideshow for my creators. You can see this is the start of the slideshow explaining what we're about to go into. You can see also with this, make sure that your guys are not just collecting one video from your model. 2 videos per stage, 3 to 4 pictures per stage minimum, okay? Stage 1 all the way up until stage 10. You can pause it, look at what we run here. But the biggest thing is that I send my model this slideshow and a Loom video of me going over this. So I'm going through the slideshow, showing her the examples, explaining each stage, explaining why we do each stage, this, that, and the third. So she understands and she knows how to create it. And we also give her example pictures, something that I really recommend you guys do if you want your scripts to turn out perfect every single time. So we have a SOP system, SOP and Loom video for this that automatically gets sent to the model once she signs, and she has around 2 to 3 days to create that. Now, after scripts is actual chat selling. So, like I said in the beginning, what we just went over between the scripts, the OF wall, and also your content in general, guys, like if your content on Instagram is more explicit than your OF wall content, you're going to have a harder time doing the GV experience. You want to make your IG content slightly sexually suggestive, but not that much. Really, really low key. Okay. So, like I was saying, it's a way more than just how you sell in the chats, but obviously selling in the chats is just as important. So, this is a basic convo, the girlfriend experience style. So you can see, hey, I want to go home. In this, literally just talking about the work. You know, day is dragging, the fan says, slow day. This is not me chatting, by the way. This is how I train my chatters. I, was betting on my chatters actually following what I do and the SOPs that I say. And it didn't take me long to find this. Slow day, sorry about that. Notice how a lot of you guys, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of you guys maybe said slow day, haha, or like I understand, whatever. But then a lot of your guys' chatters would immediately be like, would you want to get freaky after? Like immediately just try and make it sexual. You can see, don't, we don't again, 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 only until here. And when he initiates it, do we say something? Very, very strategic, okay? See, like we don't initiate anything with the GFE experience. Now, sometimes, yes, but if they're at work, like you don't want to be pressuring that at all. So you can see, obviously, blah, 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 blah. Makes the fan feel like it's a real relationship and not a transactional one. Now, would I do this with anyone that comes onto your page? No, if they just subscribe to your page and they start talking about long day at work, be like, oh, what do you do? Like figure out a little bit more intel about them. But we obviously have, New Hampshire, bank commercial, dude's got money, dude spent money before. So now it allows us for easier sales later down the line. So after we sent that, we can then send this later. And I think you'll enjoy it. This, yes. And then boom, for $200 paid, no questions asked. He didn't even see it just then. He just paid it. I can't wait to see because it feels like a relationship between the two. So selling only nude breasts for $200 because of a close relationship. This wasn't even full nude. And like, he's not even going to get mad because of that. But there's also the aspect of what happens when you sell this griffin and the dude gets pissed that you just made him pay $200 for just your tits and you fake masturbating. This is what you do. Dealing with brokies is what I call that. So this is a perfect example of just real brokey. I do for free. I'm actually broke. Say, oh, how can we have fun? Sorry, but I can't. Hope you understand. Be nice. But my two favorites are usually, sorry, my nudes are too expensive, or I don't want to hurt your pockets with a little blushy face. This one right here, you will find you will either get two answers from this. You can either get ghosted or somebody will buy. That's usually the most common one is people just don't respond to you after that, or they will buy. One of the two, because it hurts the man's ego. It's very, very simple. Now that we understand what the GFE experience is a little bit more, I want to just talk about it for one more second here. Make sure that you guys communicate this with your team, because if you have one chatter selling PPVs here, there, and then, it's not going to work. You want to build premiumness, exclusivity, and high selling content with this, okay? If you have one chatter on board and the other two aren't, the strategy is not going to work, okay? You need to make sure your entire team is on board with this. It's very important. Moving into phase 2, the actual chatting team, managing them, hiring them, everything. So, main thing, training. Obviously, once you guys hire a chatter team, which we'll get into hiring here in a second, how do we train them? I get a lot of questions from guys asking, how do I train my chatters, Griffin? I've trained my chatters, but they're just not performing still, or I sent them a video, but they're not performing still, or I told them watch this long ass YouTube video. I'm not surprised, okay? You have to explain it in the way that you want it explained, because at the end of the day, if you guys have ever played that game, I don't know what exactly it's called, but this is just an analogy for this, where you whisper around in a big room and then the last message is usually, totally fucked up because people misinterpreted it along the way. That's the same thing with training. You can have misinterpretations. So the way I eliminate misinterpretations is I do the interpreting. So I don't send them a document. I don't send them a YouTube video. I send them me, a Loom recording of me. So number one, SOP Loom videos. You can see SOP Loom video for chatting Discord. Welcome to Outlast Agency Chatter intro. I have tons and tons of these Loom videos, and you can film these once and use them forever. It's not something that you have to constantly refilm. Once you need it, film it, boom, you have it for the rest of your life with these few, the more and more chatters you get, okay? These are huge. It's as simple as literally going boom, clicking enter, clicking record, and starting your recording. And then just talk. Don't worry about editing it. Don't worry about making it fancy. Just go through the process of whatever you were trying to convey and teach. Huge, huge knowledge. A lot of guys, and a lot of you guys will hear me say this and still won't go make a Loom video, still won't go make SOPs. And then I no longer feel bad if you're broke and you have 1 to 3 chatting ratio. I'm walking over here with a 1 to 10. Second, documents. I like these to go co in hand. I would not have these alone, but I would include these for referring back to them. So for instance, if you have specific objections, like those 2 objections earlier that I said, or if you just have a brand new chatter, documents are very important. When I started, I was doing a lot of my training on documents. Now, majority of mine is now on Loom, but documents are also very important. So these are 8 documents that I give all of my students to basically plug and play into their agency, which is simply, anything from all the way from chatter playbook, the daily execution that they must do, script, session structure, and then obviously the first one, introductions, chatting mindset, psychology, sales game plan, everything. Okay. Documents are good, but like I said, watch out for misinterpretations of what these documents actually mean, because you can get a lot of guys thinking, oh, I read the documents, this is what this means. And the other guy's like, no, I read the documents, this is what that means. So you just don't want that to happen. Now, 3, monitoring. Now, a lot of guys wouldn't really think that training has anything to do with monitoring. I strongly disagree, because when was the last time that you, if you've worked a job before, when's the last time that you got onto a job or started something new or started a new skill or even a skill that you've done before? And when nobody monitored you and nobody taught you how to do it after just the initial of, hey, do XYZ, you probably weren't doing it correctly. Even if you thought you were, that's the real pain. That's the real problems. They think they're doing it correctly, but they may not actually be. So biggest thing that I can say here is chatter monitoring. All right. This is a channel that I have. Every single one of my chatters for their first 1 to 2 shifts is going to be unmuted on live inside of this chatter monitoring channel. And my chat manager, Sam, is going to be in this call with them, talking them through it. All right. Not supporting them, not being their motivational speaker, but just having a conversation about the chats that they're going on. Jamel will be like, hey, is this good what I be saying here? Or is this good? Or is that good? And Sam can give advice and basically just reprimand or teach or give them a lesson on how to chat. So if they have questions about inflow, this, that, and the third, that's something that your chat manager wants to do. And if you don't have a chat manager, this is your job here. Now, very, very important for at least the first, I would say, all the way until the second shift too. But ongoing training, etc., I do keep them inside of here. But you can see Jamel is not a beginner chatter, but he is still inside of here, even though he's muted, and so is Sam, but he's still live screen sharing his screen for monitoring. I always monitor my chatters. Now, second part about your team, shift scheduling. How is this whole team going to look? Now, if you don't know how to shift schedule, it's very, very simple. I want you to go to inflow, go to manage employees, click add employee. You're going to add their email. You're going to send them an invite. You're going to put the role as a chatter. Make sure that your chatter settings are what they need to be, because inflow comes, I'm pretty sure, basically optimal for chatters, but at the same time, they might have too many permissions that you'd want them to have, like managing the profile or managing some other things. So make sure you go through the chatter permissions that they already have basically, or that came with inflow, and make sure that you actually change them, edit them, and put them correctly. Now, what you want to do for shifts is 8-hour shifts and have 3 chatters. So also include in your chatting Discord the chatter schedule. Put the chatting schedule in sort of the Discord hub. You can put a screenshot of the inflow schedule, or you can put out basically Monday, put the chatters, Tuesday, put the hours of chatters, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But make sure I usually include just a screenshot, because this also will go and play with chatter announcements, chatter clock in, clock out, which we'll see in a minute. But let me explain to you guys, a lot of guys get so confused on how should the transfer go of one person hops off a shift, next person hops on, how should that go? this is how a shift works, okay? So, step one, a chatter starts his shift, right? He's going to join the chatter monitoring channel, like we covered earlier, right over here. He's going to join this channel just like Jamel is here. And they don't have to talk. They can be muted. They just need to be there so the chat manager knows they're online. And then they're going to post in the chatters, clock in, clock out, starting my shift now. They can at the chat manager if they want to. They can at you, whatever you want their SOP to be. Step two, they work. They chat with the subs using the GFA experience. They sell scripts. They build relationships. They do the job at the end of the day. Okay. Then step three, when the chatter shifts end, they post in the EOS reports. So they go to employee, they go to manage themselves, and then they can see their end of shift report. Or if they want to just give down their numbers and metrics, if that's preferable for them or for you, if you want. So basically, chats chatted or messages sent, PPVs sold, PPVs opened, just giving all the statistics that you need. Or it can be an image given by inflow and then any notes for the next chatter. So what that's going to look like is when they post their end of shift report, this is exactly what they're going to do. They're going to post their end of shift report. Then they're going to go back into these chatters clock in and clock out channel and click at next chatter, who's ever next in the Discord. I'm done, or my shift's over. There's a fan. This is just important info. If there is a conversation that chatter is in the middle of, your SOP can either be chat with them for 5 minutes, and if the conversation doesn't stop, then do this, or it can be you have to finish the conversation, or it can be you don't have to finish the conversation, just announce it to the next chatter. You can say there's a fan named XYZ who's in the middle of a conversation. We left off, if needed, summary. And then step 4, next chatter takes over. Next chatter sees the handoff message. They pick up the conversation where the chatter left off. No gaps, seamless transition, and that is how you run 24/7 coverage without dropping conversions. Now, for this, guys, you're going to need 3 chatters. I'm just gonna, 3 chatters and 1 reliever. Okay. Now, with the reliever, they're going to basically cover days off. So these guys are going to work 6 days a week, and the reliever is going to work 3 days a week. And the reliever shifts, everyone's shifts is going to be 8 hours, so 24-hour coverage. Now, from here, lastly, is team management, okay? What is actually the team structure, the Discord? What does this look like, okay? What that's going to look like is one chat manager whose responsibilities are monitoring the chatters, making sure they're online, making sure they're working, reviewing shift reports, tracking the ratios, and then sending them to you, handle issues if needed, and communicate with the agency owner. Now, I will also say there is a lot of hires that you can get into when it comes to chatting. You can get account managers, you can get chat managers, you can get people who manage, your entire OF, content managers, whatever, all right? The biggest things to note is that do not lock in one position if you can make that one position 2 positions. What I mean by that is my chat manager is also one of my chat managers is also my account manager, all right? What is an account manager? Account manager is just anyone who is keeping up with the vault and requesting content from the girl. So preferably, you can have a girl do this. That's why I have Sam do this. She's a female. She communicates with my models, asking and requesting for content. They send it back. Works very well. It keeps me out of the loop, okay? Now, your account manager cannot be your chat manager. Those guys usually, and things about chat managers and hiring guys is your chat manager isn't somebody that you go hire a chat manager. You hire a chatter, you manage the chats for, a month, 2 months, and then the chatter that's been the best, communicative, has a brain, contempt, that is the person you say, hey, yo, can I pay you a little bit more? You do my chat manager, you look this is what you do, this XYZ. Usually it's going to be a yes. Then 3 chatters and 1 reliever, per model. Like I said, reliever covers days off. Each chatter works 8-hour shifts, 24/7 coverage, chatting ratios. Awesome. Now, management for this entire thing, I do it in Discord. It's very simple. You can take a second to look at all the channels that we have. You can see the chatters clock in, clock out, end of shift reports. Everything that I have boxed in red is something that I would strongly recommend for you guys to have inside of your Discord, okay? But like I said, manage it whatever is most efficient for your agency, and if it's not broke, don't fix it. Now, moving from this, hiring. If you guys haven't hired chatters, or you want to make sure that you're hiring them right, or just in the future, you're always going to need to be hiring. One thing that I live by, hire slow, fire fast, okay? let's get into where to hire these guys. So, number one, Telegram. We all know it. We all love it. We all hate it. So, I just do like simple channels together. But what I do is I create a folder inside of Telegram called basically hiring chats. Well, I don't know what exactly the name is, but it just has a bunch of fucking channels like this: OF hiring, OFM jobs, chatters venture, FM jobs, jobs, right? For VAs. Probably hundreds of thousands of members that I have in here. And if you actually do your due diligence in sending in messages, it's very simple. Now, remember, when it comes to Telegram and also just really hiring in general, the more volume of leads that you have when hiring, the better. And simply to explain this, if you have the best chatter out of 50 people, cool. That's the best chatter out of 50 people. But if you have the best chatter out of 1,000, 500 people, you have a much better chatter. Very simple. All right. Moving from Telegram, and also as far as like the aftermath of after you send in your message, I send a simple message. All you have to say is, hey, looking for English speaking chatters. Our agency is looking for 2 positions, requirements: must speak English, must have a good Wi-Fi connection, must have a laptop, must this, that, and the third. List whatever your connections are. Tell them to DM at you. And when they DM you, ask them if they saw the requirements and if they 100% match. And then if they say yes to that, then send them a Google form, use Smart Logic to apply, and then hire the best ones out of there and do a screening process. Now, third or second is online. And what I mean by online is just websites. So you have onlinejobs.ph. If you guys don't know what this is, it's a website you can go. You can either post for jobs as an agency owner, or you can find jobs as a VA. This is, all of these are going to be the same thing. donutjobs.work/jobs. Again, post or find. Again, upwork.com/hire, post or find. And then ofmjobs.com, find jobs, post or find. Now, if I had to rank these, I would do ofmjobs.com first. It's very simple. I made a whole breakdown on this in my free course that I am dropping, but very simple to log in, set up a job post listing. It's very simple. You can add them. They have to be familiar with inflow. They have to be familiar with this, that, and the third. And then you post your listing. People will start applying to your offer, or you can even look out for them. Like if you just want to scroll through a bunch of different people, VAs is what I'm saying, you can reach out to them. Then I would do donutjobs.work, onlinejobs.ph, and then Upwork. I really would steer away from Upwork. You're just going to get a bunch of people who think they're too professional for OFM, and I didn't love it. I experienced that with when I started. But second to that, which is honestly, or third from this, which is my favorite, which is what I hire all of my chatters through now, is my network. Okay. So you're going to get this from other agencies or chatters At the end of the day, chatters know chatters. Like there's a huge connection when it comes to the world of chatting. Not only do chatters usually know chatters, they usually know chatting agencies. They usually know where to find the best chatters. They usually know a dude that has a million chatters. Like they have a lot of connections. You'd be surprised. So if you already have chatters, I would definitely be in communication with them, talking with them. A lot of guys in agencies like to treat their VAs and chatters like nobody. As in, like, they're not important. I don't speak to them at all. Like this, that, and the third. I only text them for like ever. Don't be a dick. Like, not saying you got to go waste your time. I'm never going to hop on a VA at my level anymore. But for my chat manager, am I going to sit in a call, chop it up, 15, 20 minutes? Why not? Yes. Because that connection led me to a connection that she had, that she knows, or this person that she knows thousands of chatters. And that's why I'm rebuilding my entire chatting team this year, right now, as we speak, because of this connection. So network is going to be a very strong one, but it's going to be after you work with, these first two. Then third one, if you do not want to hire a chatter, or if you just want to pass it off, giveaway percentage, this is going to be your best bet, which is chatting agencies. Now, the way you're going to find these is either Telegram, Instagram, or your network. I would preferably go with network just because there's so many. Listen, a common misconception that a lot of guys have in OFM is that, oh, they're a chatting agency. They must be good. They're going to get me a 1-to-10 ratio. Fuck no. Okay? The thing about chatting agencies is, yes, they could be just as expensive or even cheaper if you were to pay your own chatting team. But if you were to pay your own chatting team and get a 1-to-10 ratio versus paying a agency less but only getting a 1-to-3, 1-to-5 ratio, you're losing money. Okay? So run the math of what you could get, run the math of what that chatting agency is getting, and compare the two. Usually you're going to find it more profitable to do the chatting agency, I'll be honest, in the beginning. But once you're past like 20, 25K per month, 100% you should be doing your own chatting team. Now, that is it. Let's talk about real results from this. So after years of managing chatters, years now, I can officially say that it's been over 2 years. I have had some of the best chatting ratios ever in my past recent 5, 6 months. And I just want to show you a couple case studies to show you that I'm not full of bullshit. So, case study number 1. Before this model signed with us, last year, I just compared 1 year to date, was November of 2024. She made gross $1,265. And it was basically a 1-to-1 chatting ratio almost. I don't even know why I put 1-to-2 because that's not 1-to-2. She would have had to make basically $1,200 for every $2. Yeah, she had a basic almost 1-to-1 chatting ratio, which is just terrible. So in this, if she were to have let me just to show you the importance of chatting. If she had a 1-to-9 ratio, something that we shoot for at our agency, she would have made $5,400 gross, because if you take 600 times that by 9, $5,400. So, and if you guys don't know how to calculate that, you just add up your messages and tips as well and divide it by your subscriptions. But 650 plus 15 divided by 600 divided by 600. Okay, hold on. Okay, I typed it in wrong. What I did was I did this and then I guess Raycast read it wrong. What you want to do is just get that number. So 650 plus 15, 665, 665 divided by 600, 1.1. So she had a 1.1 chatting ratio. Okay. But like I said, if you were to take the 600 times that by 9, you can basically compare what your chatting ratio would be. So that's something that we also do on calls with models. Like if they have a 1-to-3 or 1-to-2 chatting ratio, and we know we can like kind of, raise an eyebrow, we can be like, well, Sarah, you made $1,200 with your chats and you had a 1-to-3 ratio, you're at sitting around $3,600 with messages and tips. But if you were to have a 1-to-9 ratio, you're looking at around 10,000. So almost triple what you're making, right? So it's like a big opener for a lot of girls. Now, if we fast forward 1 year to date, you can see, I don't believe this is a 1-to-5 ratio. I think that's just a typo. We can add up let's add it up. So you can see we did $31,000, 31,796.85 plus 10,678.52. So 42,475. 42,475. Divide that by 4040. So we have a 1-to-10.5 chatting ratio. So definitely a fucking typo. But you can see right here, 1-to-10 ratio. That is the difference of chatting. You can see if we only, I don't know how much we increased in subs, obviously a good bit, but we only increased around 6 times the sub rate. But at the same time, 6 times the sub rate and 8x the chatting ratio. But you can see how beneficial. If we had a 1-to-3, if the chatting ratio never changed on a 1-to-3 ratio, we would be only making $12,000 in messages and tips and not $40,000. And you can see before this model signed with us, when she was around, we signed her in March, and you can see in February, January, 3,000, 3,000, 5,000. Then we got her to 10,000 in April, which was technically our real first month of signing with her. May, 20,000, 25,000, back down to 21, 31, 25, 32, and in November, 37,000. And right now, this model is currently at around $45,000 per month. Now, not only that, case study number 2, 1-to-9 chatting ratio. Now, let's see if there's another typo. Let's just add it up once again. 832 plus 4777, 98,609, 98,609. Divide that by 11,370. 1-to-8. 1-to-9 technically, rounding up. So not a typo. But you can see this was our first month on OF for this girl. Not even a real month. We created her OF. Well, actually, we had her OF like made around here, but we launched her OF. We did a launch with this girl in July 18th. I'll remember this. Fucking crazy launch, bro. First month, we profited $87,000. Not to mention, we did $110,000. This is not even 30 days, boys. You can see this is from the 18th, 1/8 until the 20 or the 31st. Yeah, the 31st. I'm tripping. So that's what, 31 minus 18 in 13 days. Generated $110,000. Name another guy doing it like me, bro. Then in August, we did another $108,000 month. Something slight, nothing crazy. We did 135K gross this month and 108. If you want to add it up, you can. But you can see the scroll bar is at the very bottom. I don't know how it's to prove. The model doesn't even have a fucking OF before, but this was one of the craziest launches we did. You can see if we didn't have good chatting, it wouldn't have paid off. Obviously, we did a fuck ton in subscriptions, but at the same time, if we didn't have good chatting, we wouldn't have made nearly what we made. So at the end of the day, I want to make sure before you fuck this up, I'm going to give you some very, very common mistakes that I see with chatting. So mistake number one is no systems. You hire, you don't train, you just say, go chat people, go send PPVs. Your result of that is going to be a 1-to-2, 1-to-4 ratio, and your revenue is trash. If you want to fix this, give your chatters SOPs, Loom video recordings, documents, and build them out an infrastructure that they have to live and operate inside. Mistake number two, hiring too early. Like I said in the beginning of the video, it's very crucial that you hire after chatting yourself for at least 2 weeks. You want to know inflow, you want to know the ropes, you want to know the permissions that these chatters need. You want to know what these chatters are doing, not just chatting. There's more to it, okay? So make sure that you chat before you actually hire. So chat yourself until 5-6K per month. Mistake number three is not managing these chatters. These chatters are not superstars. They're not geniuses. They need a manager, whether that's going to be you or a chatter VA. You need to have a chat manager. You need to be reviewing performance. You need to be tracking the data. You need to make sure that people are actually doing what the Discord hub is operated for. Mistake number four, spamming PPVs and not using the actual GFE experience. If you're just spamming PPVs and not building relationships, not tracking whales, fans aren't going to buy. Your revenue will be trash. Use the GFE method, stick to what I showed you earlier in this video, and I promise you, you can sell for more and also retain your model's premiumness. Now, here's the big picture. Chatting is the difference between a 5K a month agency and a 20K a month agency. As you guys saw with the case studies, you can have the best marketing in the world, 1,000 subs per month, but if your chatting sucks, your earnings will reflect that and you'll be at 8K a month instead of 25K a month. So the fix for that is what we covered: using the GFE experience, building systems, hiring at the right time, tracking your ratio, and managing your chatters. And the agencies that do this, well, they're going to be profitable and making way more than you. And the ones that don't, they're going to be stuck at 5 to 10K per month and wondering why they're not scaling. Which one are you going to be? Now, you've seen why your chatting is probably killing your agency and how to fix it using the GFE experience, managing chatter infrastructure, creating a training SOPs, really managing your chatters, and what good chatting looks like. And you can either figure out all of this on your own, or you can get help implementing it the right way. If you want access to my free course plus community where I break down strategies like this, give live templates, hell, even last Friday call, we live screen shared some of my inflow and we went through chats. And so if you want that much in detail of something that you're just not going to get here on YouTube, click the link in the description for more. Now, if you're looking for something even more, if you're looking for even more personal advanced help, where I work with you one-on-one, shoot me a DM on IG and we'll chop it up and talk about it. But please don't DM me if you need me to convince you. You can scroll through all my student testimonials, all the people that vouch for me, all of the proof that I show. I really only want to work with committed people and absolute killers. With that being said, it's been Griffin. I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.